Hey there, internets. This is Kyle coming to you with another episode on the My Business Launch Secrets YouTube channel, documenting my journey from $0 to $1 million and starting a new online business. Also, side note, doing this part-time because I still have a day job and I don't live in my mother's basement, so I actually have real bills to pay and family to take care of. So it's a little bit slow going, but that's all right. Better that make a little bit of progress every day, and hence why I do these videos, which is not for you if you're actually anybody watching this, more so for me because it gives me some motivation to actually make a little more progress every day and have to hold myself accountable to what I have accomplished by recording these videos. I think I forgot if I just mentioned day 36 it is today. Since I started, so again a little over a month into it, and I think starting to get actually a little bit more clarity in terms of what I want to do. Obviously for me, being a rational thinker type, I like to plan moves out like eight steps in advance, and for something that's brand new to me, such as starting an online business, since I don't know what the steps are, I have to research them. But then when you research this sort of stuff, you find out that, there's like 8,000 possible steps you could take. You just have to pick which ones you want. And that is not super helpful, but I get it. And so it's all about me just figuring out what works for me and where my interests lie and how I want to set this all up. I think that's all right. I think coincidentally, after some of my recent not podcasts, but clips here on the YouTubes, I mentioned about being a little frustrated with the way Brunson and some other online marketing folks like to talk about all this as kind of being relatively easy and straightforward, and a monkey can kind of do it sort of thing. When clearly that is not really the case. I mean, I'm a PhD level engineer, and not to say that says anything about me aside from the fact that I have gotten pretty good at learning new things and figuring out how to best apply them, and even in doing so, I still obviously am struggling a little bit to get this whole thing off the ground. Of course, that's coupled with the fact that I am, as most people are, a little bit indecisive in terms of what specific direction to take. But nevertheless, point being, I heard the podcast today by Russell talking about, I forget, let me pull it up on my phone real quick so I can kind of remind myself. This is the Marketing Secrets podcast by Russell Brunson. Episode 132, if you want to follow along, titled Cut Yourself Some Slack, so you can actually, why can't I see the freaking, cut yourself some slack so you can actually launch your funnel. One of the biggest things you need to understand is if you're actually going to have success. Russell explains why you shouldn't stress about not being a millionaire after only working at it for a few months. Why some people have success faster, but why that doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. Why you should cut yourself some slack when you haven't become a millionaire in a short period of time. And why Russell remembers the journey of when things were hard as good old days. So he was relaying a story about his inner circle little mastermind group, and talking about how he's got a range of people in his group, some that are already like multimillionaires, very successful businesses, and others that are still relatively new and still on the road to making their own first $1 million. And the frustration he sees in those folks who are looking at all these other people who seem to have like overnight success in their business and getting a little bit frustrated. And his point being that, hey, well, just because it might appear that somebody else is like whatever launched a funnel and it made $1 million in a day. Beverage break. They made $1 million in a day. That doesn't mean that they, just got started yesterday and doing that thing, and magically it all came together and they're a millionaire now. Obviously, for them to get to that point, they've probably put in years and years of prior work where they were not successful, and thus they learned what they were able to, more accurately hone in on what exactly their product was and their offering was and their audience and all that fun stuff, and probably already have built up a list of 80 billion people, and so when they launch anything, they're bound to get some immediate traction just because of the law of numbers being what it is. So, you should not get discouraged when you see those types of examples, even though, again, of course, those are the ones that ClickFunnels and other folks like to push forward as being the highlights of the success of using ClickFunnels, which I get. That's business. But, those are not the everyday stories. The everyday stories are just people like you and me struggling to figure all this crap out, and having to learn 18,000 different things just like all at once to get anything working and actually get some sales going. I think, and so he was like talking about also that he doesn't personally, now that he's like a billionaire, very wealthy individual himself, and thus he's lost the sense of what an extra dollar brings to his life, because any extra dollars in his life mean really nothing, since at some point once you've satisfied all your needs and all your wants, there's not much else you can do to spend your money on aside from random crap, right? So for him, when he launches something new and it's very successful, it's not as powerful or motivating to him as when he, first began 20 years ago or whatever, and had first success, making $20 or whatever, and talked a lot about his, the time when he was still in college but married, and, obviously the struggles they had, just like most married folks in college, myself included, of struggling to, just have enough money to put food on the table, sort of thing. So it's just a different perspective. You evolve over time of being in the game and ultimately getting to the success that you're seeking. So all that said, onto my business specifically. So after, again, reading more through the Expert Secrets book over the past few days as I was traveling, got me thinking a bit more about the culture I would like to build around my business, and thinking about what's like a proper a mantra or whatever, and a manifesto of what would define who are the people that I'm looking to attract, I guess, and what's the core sort of message I'm trying to put out there. So again, from the sort of 3 core tenets of becoming an expert, having an attractive character, having a future-based cause, and then having a new opportunity. So thinking about what's the future-based cause, which on a very simple basis means you're not telling somebody, hey, I'm just going to kind of fix what's going on right now today, but rather you're pointing people towards, hey, here's the future we all collectively are gathering around to go achieve. I'm your leader, to help you get to where you're headed, as I'm defining it for you. And again, that's a key sort of aspect of a lot of leaders of mass movements over the past, forever, going back to biblical times, right? 4 Roses bourbon, in case you're wondering. So I was thinking about that more and thinking about, I was looking at some of the examples that he had in the Expert Secrets books, other companies he's worked with. One's like a soap company, one's a financial company, and one's a weight loss company, which is Lady Boss Weight Loss. It's one that he likes to talk about a lot in his podcasts. And actually, ClickFunnels just recently bought or acquired Lady Boss, which is interesting. They're just gobbling up businesses, I guess. Because in these current economic times, certain businesses that are struggling can easily be bought up for on the cheap by other businesses that are doing quite well, which is ClickFunnels. So what to say about that? So Lady Boss, has a whole manifesto thing, and I just started to get to thinking about even like, ClickFunnels, right? So this is the t-shirt they put out. They give you when you sign up for any of their free crap. They'll send you this t-shirt, #FunnelHacker. So funnel hackers, they're kind of the naming of the people. They're people, right? ClickFunnels is the company. Funnel hacker is the people that pay for the service. Kind of their own made up term, but it's something that helps people identify with something, right? And so I've been building up my business all around this, idea of PhD secrets, sharing the secrets behind life as a PhD sort of thing. But that's not really like a mantra per se, or a mission or a vision, right? And it's just something that's kind of enticing from a, having a good hook to bring people into what you're wanting to share with them. So I was thinking, okay, well, what should it be like a little bit more holistically? And so I was just thinking about Lady Boss. I'm not a very creative person, so I just came up with the idea of PhD Boss. And I was like, well, just PhD Boss, like that sounds a little weird, because people would think, oh, does that mean like you are teaching PhDs how to be managers, which is not what I'm really interested in doing. I was like, no, BOSS could be an acronym for like the 4 key characteristics I would like to instill in people through my teaching and whatnot. So BOSS, started looking at all the various adjectives, and I was thinking about this on the plane ride over here, coming back home. I looked at it a little bit more today. So BOSS, lots of different options in terms of adjectives. Where I've settled at right now, which is still subject to change, is B for badass, O for original, S number 1 for steadfast, S number 2 for servant. And so badass, original, steadfast, servant. So I think those would do pretty well in terms of kind of covering 4 sort of key bases of, I guess, what I try to be myself and what I would like to help other people do. Badass. Badass, not purely just the slang term, but just, being somebody that has, extraordinary kind of skill or competency in something. Obviously, you've already got a PhD, so you've kind of probably got that covered. Original, you're not one that's just looking to go out and copy what somebody else is doing, but you're kind of looking to break the mold, more or less, think outside the box, which you've probably already partly done as a PhD, but, this training is to help you think more broadly about that, aside from just your specific technical area. Steadfast, meaning somebody that, has sort of key, core, unchanging values that drive them, and that they're not just easily kind of swayed back and forth day to day with what they want to do. And then servant. So servant is something I definitely wanted to bring in, service or servant, something I wanted to bring in because, again, I think it's something that I hear a lot kind of talked about in, sort of personal development spheres and self-help sort of things is, the more you open yourself up to serving others, generally the more you actually receive back. So, plus it is a fundamental biblical principle, and as a Catholic, I try to follow those. Of course, falling short of that most of the time, but still having that ideal to work towards. So always trying to be one that's more open to helping other people versus purely thinking about my own intentions, right? So like, from a holistic point of view, I think these are some pretty kind of key aspects of what I'd like to share with other people, teach people. And I like that because it kind of gets me away from this whole like, oh, I'm just going to help give you a resume, a PhD resume, and I'm going to talk to you about how to get your next job or whatever, which again is like what I've already seen some other companies are doing, specifically targeting PhDs. Not to say I couldn't do that, but I'm not super interested in that, frankly. So, although I think, that would be one aspect of what I would be teaching people, this kind of boss framework. There's like a lot of different directions I could envision sort of going off. And so that could lead to a lot of different info products, / that can maybe be the core of how I do coaching whenever I start doing that at some point. So it's good to have, sort of those core building blocks that will help kind of define how I want to outline the business as a whole. Fortunately, from a logistical point of view, PhDboss.com is already taken, which is freaking annoying. So I had to go with the PhDboss.com. Then set up a PhD Boss Facebook page and Twitter, I think. Probably need to do a LinkedIn and whatever else I'd done. And then there was oh god, now it's kind of questioning like, well, should I just push all the content to PhD Boss and just say secret number 86 on PhD Boss, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, or should I still keep the PhD secret pages that I already made up, which I haven't like invested a lot of time yet either way, so it doesn't like it's not like I'm too far down the road to just go to make a change. But I was just thinking about like how ClickFunnels uses the various secrets books that Russell puts out, expert secrets, DotCom secrets, traffic secrets. Those are all kind of his front end offers that hook people into the ClickFunnels ecosystem. So those kind of are separate things. I mean, you can go to expertsecrets.com and get a free book. And so then that pulls you into his other funnels to eventually hook you into using their software, right? So I could do the same thing with PhD, keep my plans for generating content under PhD secrets and then just use that to hook people in and pull them into the funnels that are on thephdboss.com or whatever. I don't know. It doesn't really matter, I guess, either way. But being the, again, thinking type that I am, I have to ponder these types of questions that I'm sure most people don't care about. Okay, so that was some general thinking of the day I did here in the last couple minutes. We'll show you a little bit about some funnel action that I have been working today. This is the PhD Secrets letter, or PhD Boss letter, I guess. I'll change that. But the funnel that would be used to get people hooked into my monthly newsletter by offering them a bunch of free stuff and a free 30-day trial, essentially, for the newsletter that would then auto-renew unless they chose to cancel, right? So again, have it, again, like a lot of this takes freaking forever. Just, graphics and coming up with the product ideas and all this sort of stuff. It's just like, man, it takes so long. So anyway, I made some progress nonetheless. I mean, one thing Russell talks about is you should always start with your offer stack in whatever you're doing. Like, come up with your offer stack, then build everything more or less around what exactly it is that you're offering. So that is what I tried to do, come up with you know, something that is, what the frick is this crap? Oh my God. Oh shit. Yeah, there's still some bugs here in the freaking ClickFunnels 2.0, but that's all right. Let me go out here real quick. Okay, so again, very, very much still trying to template the magnetic marketing no BS newsletter funnel that they have signed up. So you got some video, so I got to figure out what I'll put in the video, some verbiage up front, and then this is the offer stack here. Obviously not my graphics, I just copied those from the no BS letter site, so I at least kind of know, number one, what I need to be generating for my own content that I'm going to have there. And so I've got that all drawn up in Canva, so I can start dumping things in there. But then I actually laid out the offer stack. Hey, these are all the great, you know, resources you're going to get access to. There's a couple bonuses. You're going to get a cool t-shirt. You're going to get a cool member's notebook. Total value, all that crap there is $997. Start today for free. Just cover $29.95 for printing and shipping. It's $29.95. I'm probably going to actually lose money on that, because t-shirt, notebook, those are probably going to be $10 each, $20. Got to have some box and print a newsletter to include in that box. So probably the cost of the goods is going to be $30 roughly, and then I still got to ship it, so I can say another $10 or whatever for that, or more, because it's going to be a box. $10 might be all right. So yeah, I might be spending like $40 for actually shipping all this. I mean, all this is electronic goods, so that's no cost to me aside from the cost I pay for ClickFunnels. Yeah, shipping this stuff is going to be more than $30, so hopefully people don't just get that and then cancel after the first month, or else I'm net negative. So I was thinking of like there should be maybe some upsell I'd push them into after this, which could maybe be like, hey, if you already know that you're really interested in this and you want to sign up for a full year of the newsletter, this is a one-time offer. I'm going to give you 50% off of my annual rate. So you only pay whatever, $300, and you get the newsletter for a year or something like that. Gotta figure that out. So anyway, there's still a whole lot of crap to still put in here, describing like what each one of these products are, coming up with the graphics for each one of those products, putting all those graphics together in this cool little compilation thing, blah, blah, blah. So still a lot to do, but making progress little by little. I'm going to call it a night for today. So you guys keep on kicking ass, taking names, and I'll see you next time. Peace.